empathize because of his upbringing. Okay. Are you getting me? And he said this government. Therefore, if you don't empathize, you are a dadaba. Based on that definition, I distance myself.
Okay.
I distance myself from being a certified dadaba, as you alluded to.
Okay.
Because I do know that empathy is part of me. Sympathy is part of me. Love for the people is part of my good self.
Are these qualities part of your government?
Are you in this government?
I will tell you why they are. You see, people, with all great respect to Ghanaians watching us, have actually assumed the posture of thinking that Ghanaians are gullible. So whatever we say, they swallow hook, line, and sinker. So when we have opportunities to sit here, with all respect to my great brother, I'm analyzing what is happening.
Okay.
We communicators, when we get the opportunity to sit, to discuss issues with Ghanaians, we think that whatever we say is final. And therefore, Ghanaians will swallow it, hook, line, and sinker, run into town with it, and work with it. Why am I saying this? When you say that the people in government today don't have empathy for the people they are governing, I tell you that you are far from reality of the situation on the ground.
Really?
If you have a government, and in fact, let me even use the MPP, not as a government. Since the inception of the 1992 Constitution,
This is
it's important, my brother, it's important to make my point.
I'll give you the chance to speak
you have
on
your
this if
chance
you
to
want
speak to it.
to.
Please, Amalaba,
Don't
don't do this.
hold on. Don't worry, we'll get into
Please,
it.
you are not the moderator.
Allow him.
Amalaba, you are not the moderator.
Please allow
Please, allow me.
Please allow him.
Since the inception of the 1992 Constitution, that gave way for multi-party democracy, and MPP was given birth to. Today we are 30 years. And we got an opportunity to rule this country. When you talk about pro-poor policies, and I've mentioned this over and over again, not a single party in this government can tell you that, look, I'm talking about empathy. People who think of poor people. No, it's not true. I am saying that, I am saying it forcefully, and I'll make this point. No government, no party has thought of Ghanaians than the MPP.
Have you listened to the people?
I am saying it again. I'm repeating it.
You mean in the Fourth Republic?
Today
you mean in the Fourth Republic?
For the Fourth Republic. No government
has listened to Ghanaians more than
yes,
the MPP.
Has even empathized with the poor people of this country than the MPP.
You're saying this based on what?
I am saying based on so many things. One.
Make it brief for me. So
first of all, hitherto, before we came to power, ask them, how did Ghanaians visit the hospital? Cash and carry.
Who told you?
Ask him. No, this is it's straight knowledge, it's common knowledge. How did Ghanaians who were sick and had no money visit the hospital? People died because they had no money to go to the hospital.
I was just going to ask because
it is the MPP.
We're told that the NHIS, you know, there's a lot of money.
A figment of their imagination, my brother. I am saying that.
They are in debt.
Figment of their imagination.
That there are lots of these institutions that are supposed to provide medicines and stuff. They're complaining because there are monies that are owed them that have not been paid. So there was a time in this, you know, first half of the year.
I have not said that. I have not said that in analyzing a policy implemented for the people, you would not have challenges within. But I am saying that you have even thought of the people. It is the MPP that in 2003 thought that Ghanaians are poor and have no money to go to hospital under President Kufuor. And when Ronaldo was part of the government, thought of Ghanaians and they went to hospital.
Why did it then take so long? If you're saying that you listen to the people more than any other party, why did it take so long to take a decision on Honorable Adwoa Safo, especially when her constituents had been crying and saying that we're not getting anything from the minister? And of course, the fact that she's supposed to be Minister of Gender and Social Protection. For a long time, we're not seeing anything happening.
So that is where the empathy situation.
I'm asking you about that. You're saying that you listen to people, and I'm bringing that in, and I'm asking you that. Why did it take so long?
This is a very weak and wobbling argument.
Why do you say
on the
so?
Empathy matter? I have just said that Ghanaians who are poor and thought of by a government clearly
define poor.
Ghanaians who need social protection.
Why?
Define poor.
You are now narrowing the argument to an individual's character.
Poor.
That she was a minister and that the government had not listened to people to sack her because of one or two reasons. That is where you are bringing the argument to. And that argument is not sale. And the argument I made earlier was that she is. The argument I made was that if we compare and contrast the activities of MPP government and NDC government, and talking about empathy, who cares much about Ghanaians, it is the MPP, and on any day, no record can ever.
Why did it take so long to make a decision on Honorable Adwoa Safo?
You see, governance is a complex business. And governance is an important and significant aspect of our life. And I am saying again that if you ask me a question as to why decisions have not been reached, sometimes we have actually provided laws for ourselves. But we want to depart from the law and then think that our emotion should be the law. It's sad. When you give job to the President of the Republic of Ghana, the President of the Republic of Ghana, he's supposed to be what? Looking at the laws of Ghana and working. You have given him the opportunity to appoint and disappoint if he wants. Then he says that, look, I am in the course of looking at whatever, at the right time I take decision. He say, get up. When Ghanaians say, go up and do this, that is not leadership. Okay. In any case, you and I do not know what actually held the president till yesterday when the announcement was made.
You don't know?
Adwoa Safo. You and I may not know what is within.
Do you know?
Look, even in law, he's a lawyer here. There's something called, they are lawyers. There's something called indoor management rule that they know is a principle. That within, you may not know what is within. What comes up for public consumption might be different. So I'm saying that let's grant the president this. He has the opportunity given to him by the law to take decisions at the right time. The decision he took, he has taken. Those that he didn't take yet, your noise will not have to let him just rationally take a decision that will not inure to the benefit of the people. He knew what he was doing within. And I'm saying that you and I may not know what was within, as it were.
So you don't agree that it was a belated decision that was made?
In as much as, you see, even the Constitution of Ghana, when you take Article 19, for instance, it tells you that the due process of the law is so important. You don't just pronounce judgments. Even under criminal matters, they tell you are innocent until proven guilty. That one, you would say that what? There's delay and therefore there's no justice. The law, they have always said it. The wheels of justice, what? Grind slowly. People will tell you delayance in giving justice is what? Denial of justice. But the lawyer will tell you, no, it's a piecemeal, it's a process. We need to scrutinize everything before we take decisions. People are very serious-minded who take care of government, who are supposed to handle government. You don't just get up and say whatever you want to say and then say it and say, do it, and then we move on. We don't do things like that.
The same people that voted you into power?
It's a process. No, that is why I'm saying the due process of the law is as important as the substantive laws that we have. Due process is so important.
I see. Let me bring lawyer Abraham Amaliba in to respond to this. Of course, yesterday we saw that letter. I mean, everybody was expecting the speaker to make a decision on the matter concerning the report that the Privileges Committee forwarded to him. But clearly we heard what he said. He says, well, he would rather hold on and give proper reason as to why a decision will have to be taken as to whether to declare her seat vacant or not. And so we'll have to wait till October for that. But just a few hours after we heard the president, of course, we saw the letter from the presidency indicating that she had to vacate her position as minister.
And therefore,
there was a process with regards to Parliament. Hold on, let's lawyer come in.
I just want to understand the system of delay.
I am shocked to my bone marrow to hear that empathy means using hard-earned currency, little resources that we have to build a cathedral when school children are lying on their belly going to school and writing. I am shocked to hear that empathy.
Let him make his point.
I am shocked to hear that empathy would mean that using hard-earned currency and also little resources of the Ghanaian people to charter flights.
But he said they initiated pro-poor policies.
I'm saying that I am also shocked to hear that empathy means that using one full V8 to carry the president's chair. That is empathy for the MPP. What is pro-poor than building hospitals? What is pro-poor projects than building a hospital? Which hospital have they built?
They have Agenda 111 that's coming up with.
Oh, tell those things to the base. What do you think? What do you think is empathy? When they preside over corrupt practices which has never been heard of under this administration. So, look, if it comes to pro-poor policies, when you build a school in a community, when the school children will no longer cross crocodile-infested ponds to attend school in the next village, that is pro-poor. We have built secondary schools. Wow. You get my point? Before that secondary school, the E block was there, School children used to cross crocodile-infested ponds to the next community to attend school. What is poor than that? They should stop those things. On the substantive matter, this letter from the president, for me, is too little too late.
Why?
The sacking of Adwoa Safo was long overdue. Long overdue. In fact, look, if we had a good leader who knows what management of a state means, not the kind of leader we have, this leader would have known that 5 months ago, Adwoa Safo had already sacked herself.
How so?
Because she had gone AWOL. Adwoa Safo had gone AWOL. Huh? She had abandoned, jump ship.
She said she did not abandon the ministry.
Ah.
She only had to take a break.
And I'm saying that it takes a good leader. It takes, the president asked him if he was still managing his law firm and his junior leaves the law firm 5 months, 6 months, and doesn't return. He will still have that junior in his chambers. Ask the president when he was managing Prempe and Fufado and Prempe. So he doesn't take the work of the government serious. And that is why he has kept Adwoa Safo all this while. When the lady herself had sacked herself, there's a story of a policeman who took bribe from a former IGP, didn't know he was IGP. And when they told him that his colleagues told that was the IGP, he ran into the bush and said, I sacked myself. Adwoa Safo had already sacked herself.
How so?
I'm saying that the woman had gone AWOL, had left.
When she spoke to the media, she was very categorical. She said that as far as she's concerned, once the president has not sacked her, she's still in charge of the ministry. She's still a substantive minister. And so she had not sacked herself. She only took a break to take care of family matters.
Exactly. So what she meant to say is that the only person who has not told the whole world that I've been sacked is the president. But she has left in the US, doing YouTube, dancing. But she has gone. So it takes a good leader to know that your employee is no more interested in the job, and then you fire. So this is too little, too late. Next point is that, indeed, this your question about the president is aware and that the president is still has not fired her. That interview she granted clearly indicated that the president knew of her challenge. She said that. And that the president was fully aware of her predicament, the reason for which she's out there dealing with those challenges. The president never denied that. This sacking is a betrayal of Adwoa Safo.
How so?
It's a violation of the trust she had on the president. Because she and the president sat down and the president agreed and she went out. Because the president realized her challenge and allowed her to go out. She said that in the news, in the interview. So for me, this is also a betrayal, which means that this president cannot be relied upon.
How so? I mean, we've heard from... Hold on.
I am looking at this from different angles. So
Honorable Kennedy Ejapong, and he even said that as far as he's concerned, a lot was done to try to bring Adwoa Safo back into the country, even to the extent that some 120,000 was given to her for her to come to Parliament. She did not do so. So if you say that it was not fair on her part for the president to have sacked her and that was a betrayal, what if they had tried every means possible to ensure that she returns?
Look.
And she still did not heed to any of those calls.
I am here doing analysis. I'm looking at the letter from different angles. The first angle is that it is too little, too late. And that this firing should have been done long since. Google me. I have been on record to have said that the continuous stay of Adwoa Safo in the office should be put at the doorstep of the president. Google me. So I'm doing analysis. And I'm now saying that the second part of my analysis is that when you have a minister who has trust in the president and confided in the president, and the president allowed her to leave and go out to deal with her challenges, and when she said that the president did not deny, for the president to now fire her is a betrayal of the trust. It's a violation of Adwoa Safo's trust in the president. That's the second analysis.
Okay.
Third analysis of the letter, different angles, is an indication of the weak leadership of the president. Because, like I told you, 5 months ago, you had a ministry that is without a minister. You kept somebody to be in charge. There have been challenges in that ministry. Food, who are those?
School feeding.
The caterers went on strike. School children were not fed for a period of time. As a president, if your substantive minister is out there and this is happening in a sector, what do? You ensure that her absence, which may be the cause, because this minister who is in the sanitation ministry, she already has sanitation and water resources. Those are 2 things. Then you add gender, 3, children, 4, social welfare, 5 to her. So if you look at the management style of the president, it's a clear indication that he's a weak leader. He's not able to look through and ensure that he gives leadership to his ministers. And so this letter, which is coming too late in the day, also portrays the weak leadership style of the president. So these are the 3 things, the analysis of the letter I am submitting to you this morning.
Okay. Lawyer Jantua, do you agree with these analyses that we heard from Lawyer Ibrahim?
What is the major responsibility of any politician that the people have decided to vote for? What is their main responsibility? Number 1 responsibility is to serve the people. The president himself, his position is to serve the people. The president has decided to put a group of people in place to help serve the people. Adwoa Safo, has she had the chance to serve the people? And if she hasn't had the chance to serve the people, whose responsibility is it to make sure that the people are served? The person who put her there. And if the person who put her there doesn't see it fit that the people aren't being served, what is his responsibility? To make sure that he gets somebody who can serve the people. Ministry of Gender, what has happened since Adwoa Safo left? Has the president actually looked at the schedule of the minister who he has put in place to act? Whether she has had the wherewithal to be able to run the ministry the way it's supposed to be run? Let's look at some of the defects that the ministry has gone through since the absence of Adwoa Safo not being in the ministry. And so, if the president, at the 99th hour, now feels that she cannot hold that position anymore, doesn't the president have the responsibility to tell the people why? Doesn't he? He's there to serve us. He's there to serve us. That is his main role, to serve the people. His main role isn't the fact that because he's president and he's put somebody there, he does not have responsibility to us. The ministry hasn't been served. You've now decided to horn the lady out of the position. Tell us why. We are not supposed to know.
So that should have been included in the letter?
Yes. Because of A, B, C, D, E, I have decided now to relieve Madam Adwoa Safo of her position. Really? Yes. Why not?
Will that not be given too much information?
What kind of information, la? Who put the president there? Did the president get there himself? Isn't it the people? And why did the people give their power to the president? To serve. Is it a national security problem that the president can't tell us why? Is it a national security problem? Hasn't this thing been going on since when? For how long now? And you think he doesn't owe us any responsibility to tell us why? Who is he serving? Not the people. Isn't it us? When he comes and he talks, COVID time, who was he talking to? Was he talking to his party people? He was talking to Ghanaians because his responsibility is to serve the people. And you think that he shouldn't tell us. I believe this constitution, which the president doesn't want to touch, it should be changed. And there should be an article in there which mandates the president to tell the people why he's chosen certain people into positions. He started doing that 2017. Why did he stop? Why did he stop doing it? So, in effect, you see the people are left in abeyance. Right now, do you know the reason why the president has taken it?
We have no idea.
I have no idea. Is that respectful to the people? Is that respectful to the people? And my brother will not, you see, and this is a challenge I have with parties in power and their party members. I don't know whether they are scared. I don't know whether they feel they'll be victimized. But when things are not going right, you have the responsibility to speak to power as a member of that party. You have the right to tell Mr. President, A, B, C, D, E is not going well, irrespective of the impact on you. Because what are you doing? You're ruling a country. The president and the party is ruling a country.
But you don't think they may have told him privately, which is probably why this decision had been taken? Of course, we've seen the majority in parliament as well also agitating and asking for her seat to be declared vacant. Is that not an indication that maybe they were sending a certain signal to the president that this is what is happening, we're not happy with it, you must make a decision?
Do the people know? Bella, do you know whether that is true? And you see, this is what now fosters a lot of perception. Perception. Then the perception turns into reality. Maybe that reality is a wrong reality because of the perception they've left to run. Come on. In some countries, you get party people speaking to power. Go to the UK. Go to Parliament. When Boris Johnson was doing the things he did, his own party members in Parliament were telling him, you are not fit to run as a Prime Minister. And you're telling me that members of the MPP cannot speak to power? Then where are we? Members of the NDC cannot speak to power? I don't understand it. Because 2024 comes, who do they go to? They go to their party members to vote for them. They come back to the country, don't they?
Yeah.
And they plead with the country. And they beg with the country, vote for us, please. But you come and you don't want to tell us your actions? I don't understand it.
Is it also not worrying, and of course, Lawyer Abraham Amaluba touched on it, that in that same letter where it communicates the sacking of the gender minister, it also says that they're keeping the acting gender minister in position, even though she's already overwhelmed, until further notice, until someone else is put in place. There are quite a number of people. The president himself had said, and the party had said, that we're going to ensure that we have at least 30% of women within our government. We have not achieved that yet, and yet we're overwhelming the women, the few women that we have, by giving them more work to do when there could have been other women who could do the job.
Why are you surprised? Why are you surprised? Since 2017 to 2022, how many years? 6 years. Has the president done a reshuffle? Has he? Has he changed anybody? Has he? Don't you think after a while, and one will continue to speculate if we don't know the truth. After a while, this thing has been going on. Don't you think it would have boded well for the president if we knew he had directly called Adwoa Safo to tell her, Madam, this thing is going on too long. Find a certain alternative, another alternative, to take care of your family problems in America. We need you here. Don't you think it would have boded well for the president?
What if he did privately?
But we don't know.
But the fact that we don't know doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
Well, if
it may have happened.
Well, if he did it, what was the response?
I mean, the chief of staff couldn't even reach her. But so at a point she went to Adwoa Safo's house.
And you're trying to tell me that
you're trying to tell me that
the president can't reach her. Joy FM reached her. Joy FM, a private media station, reached her.
But the Privileges Committee still couldn't reach her.
Are you saying, look, you should
didn't do enough.
They didn't do enough?
Bella, don't take things for granted. There's a dynamics of politics playing in there. Adwoa Safo's constituency was the largest constituency that gained, for
MPP,
the MPP.
Yeah.
there's politics going on in there that we don't seem to be looking at. Why do you think NDC is championing this thing? There's politics in there.
Championing what exactly? Because as far as the minority is concerned,
the fact
they
that
want her to remain in parliament.
Exactly. They want her to remain. You think there's no politics in there?
What is the politics that's appealing?
Come elections, they will put somebody in Dom Kobinya and they will say to the people, we supported your leader,
MP,
your MP, to stay in parliament. What did the party do? What did the MPP do? They wanted to sack her, didn't they? They asked the people, didn't they? We fought. Look, everything in politics they do, there is a tinge of politics somewhere in there. There is.
So this is more about the 2024 elections and not immediate what's happening in Parliament. Because, again, it's also an issue of numbers.
It's both. It's an issue of numbers. It's both. It's both. Politicians don't just come up and support blindly. They don't come up and support blindly. The people support a certain cause because they also see the advantage to them. The NDC will do the same. Politicians will do the same. Let's see.
Kamal, was the president ever able to reach her? Because in all the communication, we haven't heard anything being said about the president and whether he was able to even speak to her directly and what may have come out of that communication. The farthest we know is that the chief of staff was the one who tried to reach out to her, still didn't yield any results.
Bella, let me reiterate my position again, that what happens with them many a times, okay, we're not privy to. Governance, once again, I am reiterating, is a complex and a serious business. Governance is not what you just walk on the street and say and think it is, and that is what it is. Bella, Article 78 of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, I'm certain with the lawyers here, mandates the president to appoint ministers that he wants with prior approval of what? Parliament. Article 78 says that give the number of ministers you want. Now run down to Article 81 of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana again, mandates the president to revoke the appointment of a minister. It doesn't tell us, President, when you revoke, give us reasons why you have revoked.
But the
read
president,
it explicitly.
Please, hold on.
No, please.
But
Bella, don't do this.
Hold on. I remember when the president was appointing ministers in his first term. When he called each person, he gave us the biography, the profile of
and there was
each
a constitution
person.
there.
So why is it that in this case you don't think that it is right?
If the president came to give a profile of somebody I have appointed, it is not out of place, but it is not to say again that the law mandates him or coerces him to do same. No.
Agreed, but
it's
if
an addition to it.
Continue.
No, Bella, you see, if I had allowed me to flow just as you allowed them, I would have done.
That's not what I said.
And please.
I said it should be in the Constitution.
Please, I am saying that, you see, let's have a very decent argument.
Come on, carry on.
Once again,
why?
Is there some conspiracy?
She has access questions.
No, is there
There's
some
no
conspiracy?
Nobody
So what's
has
the
time
point?
for conspiracy.
You guys were talking, I was
Nobody has
quiet.
anything
I am
against
going
you.
ahead and
Make
you
your
are all
point.
out there saying things that I've lost.
Well, we need to ask follow-up questions, so allow us to do our job.
Ahead.
But yes, carry on.
People sat here and spoke with that basis and were quiet.
I asked them questions.
Let me continue.
So you cannot tell me that I don't.
And I'm saying that people spoke with that basis and were quiet. I will continue and I am prefixing my submission based on the law, which I have stated sufficiently that our own constitution, which binds you and binds me, tells us what the president should do in terms of appointment and what he should do when he's revoking an appointment. Now, somebody sits here and wants to tell Ghanaians that in the letter, the president should tell her why you are sacking the person. Okay? Which is exactly not what even the Constitution lying in front of you is saying. That's sad. You see, sometimes, of course, it's sad.
How is it sad?
I am saying it's sad because it's a depart from the law. And it should not come from lawyers.
So but you don't think that the president needs to at least communicate to Ghanaians so he doesn't leave room for conjecture? Because now everybody's just conjecturing.
The letter that came from the presidency alone is enough a communication to you.
Oh, okay.
And I'm saying that juxtaposing same to the provisions of the Constitution of Ghana, nothing has been done wrong.
Why was she sacked?
She was, why? You sat here, you even pulled them and said that even in Parliament, there were issues of absenteeism raised. And then processes have begun because the Constitution, same Constitution says that when an MP absents herself or himself for a number of days without any basis, you are referring the person to privileges committee who will sit on the matter. If need be, they will bring it to the plenary, and the plenary will sit down and decide.
But you're talking about the legislature here.
That, listen,
that's totally different.
Yeah. Oh, my dear sister, if you are listening to yourself, you were bringing them up to speed.
Don't use me as the point of reference.
Look,
I'm
Bella,
asking you a simple question.
Bella,
why was she sacked? The issue of parliament is totally different from the decision that the executive will be making.
Let's make this program very interesting to the objective viewer.
We are doing that, so answer the question.
And what I am doing is that I am saying that you had even told them that, look, this and this happened in Parliament. The legislature has even started something. Don't you think that is enough to tell you that Adwoa Safo had committed something that warrants a sack? You asked.
So is that why she was sacked?
Why? That's an enough reason. It is enough a reason to prove that Adwoa Safo maybe didn't carry herself well. To the extent that the executive is not happy with it, to the extent that the legislature is not happy with it as well. That is the point I am making. But I'm saying that one will sit here and make weak arguments like, President should tell her why you are sacking the person, when you know that even at the legislature level, there's an absenteeism process going on. And yet you come and sit here and claim that, President, tell us, what is this? What, have you reached him on phone?
To be fair, the legislature has kept us in the know on what exactly it is they were trying to do with regards to Adwoa Safo. The Privileges Committee even communicated to us. In fact, when they tried to reach her, they published it in the media as well. So all along, they've taken us on this journey. Unlike the executive, who have not really updated us on what exactly has been happening.
Why did they sack
please. Maybe you chose to listen to what you want to listen to. I started off by saying that revocation of an appointment, it is mandated under Article 81 of the Constitution and doesn't tell the president, come to explain to the world why you are revoking an appointment.
But you don't think that the same people who voted the president into office, he deserves, or those people deserve to listen to the president when it comes to exactly why he's making certain decisions?
I do give respect to the citizens of this country a lot. And again, I will say that when it is trite knowledge, in fact, common knowledge, that this has happened, that absenteeism is there, that she's neither at her office as a minister, nor is she at her office as an MP. If this is there, and I'm saying that that alone has occasioned a situation of what we have to find ourselves in today. If she's absent, and the president thinks that she's absent, of course, even that, the ministry was not left hanging. There was a caretaker minister. Even that. And of course, that is also acceptable in the eyes of governance. That when a minister is actually relieved of his post or her post, you are supposed to ask another ministry to oversee to the affairs of that ministry. Did the president leave the gender ministry alone?
There's a deputy, there's a chief director.
But there was a caretaker, which is, you are supposed to have a caretaker minister in addition to the deputies.
Could we not have elevated the deputy to the level of minister so she can act as caretaker minister?
It's not what you think, Bella.
That's why I'm asking you.
It is what the law says and what governance accepts. And I'm saying again that the president appointed a caretaker minister so that the affairs on business of that ministry will continue.
Did it really continue?
That is not wrong. It did. Why not?
Let me read something for you.
It continued.
And so the Gender Committee in Parliament had a meeting, and we heard from Honorable Hamza Adam, and he's a member of the Gender Committee in Parliament. Now, after a certain meeting that was had, he said that the ministry, well, to our dismay, no money had been allocated to the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection as at the end of the first quarter of 2022. Now, the first quarter has passed and not even a cedi was received by that ministry, and we're wondering the kind of magic they were performing to be able to undertake their activities. And when we pushed them, we realized that they were relying on donor funding for the ministry. Meanwhile, there's a caretaker minister.
That's a very interesting one.
You don't think that she should have been able to get some money for the ministry?
So what's the linkage? The linkage is that because Finance Ministry has not disbursed monies to the Ministry of Gender, it means that because Adwoa Safo was absent.
No, but we had a caretaker minister, right?
Absolutely. And I'm saying
so she could not have lobbied to ensure that some money will come to the ministry for work to be done?
But there has been cases where ministries have said that our budget have actually not given to us yet, or been given to us yet, or cases where our budget that we expected, we had some, but we didn't get all, okay? We have always had disbursement issues, not only in this government, but even government that, of course, came before this government. We've always had that, to the extent that even monies that were supposed to be statutory fundings, somebody had to go to court at the point when NDC was in power to force government to pay such monies. Are you getting me? So not having money, moving from Minister of Finance as the allocation to the Minister of Gender, okay, has nothing to do with Adwoa Safo being absent.
But if we're getting
I am
donor
saying
funding,
that the President of the Republic of Ghana did not leave that ministry. He made sure that when she was absent, a caretaker minister was appointed to take care of it.
Why
And
caretaker?
that is not wrong.
Why caretaker?
but that's
is
the
not
thing.
wrong.
At that
Why
point,
caretaker?
could he not have appointed? Because this caretaker minister
Yes.
was
Caretaker.
appointed when that letter extending the Dom Kabenya MP's leave, came out. That was on the 6th of October 2021.
Bella,
We've moved from October
let's
till
appreciate,
July.
once again,
And
let's
we're saying that
let's-
within that period, the
Yes.
president could not find anyone to take over that ministry.
Bella, I have not said so. First of all, let's appreciate the processes that we have all agreed to ourselves in our laws. That is why I'm not surprised that yesterday I read a piece when the Supreme Court says that, look, some section of a law is an affront to the Constitution. There are processes established. So which process I have mentioned sufficiently that, look, once 78 of the Constitution tells you the president determines who becomes minister, tells you the ratification that will come from Parliament. The same 81 says that there's a process how to revoke or to cease to become a minister. Your revocation can come. It doesn't give you tell us this, tell us that. I just established a principle that you, myself, and the two brothers I have here will all follow in the eyes of good governance, in the eyes of the law. But if you now add anything that you think that morality will say that let's make this argument. Do you think somebody could not have extended you have extended the argument to a moral argument or an objective argument, which they know. So I'm saying that we don't sit here and say what suits us. You will say yours, I will say mine, he listening will say his, and at the end of the day, there'll be confusion in the air. But what is the principle? And the question is whether or not the principle established was reneged upon by the president. And the answer is no.
And you're saying
That's
that
the point.
work was still ongoing. I'll come to you,
Yes,
but let me
it's
read
no,
one more
completely
thing.
no.
So I remember that when the caterers were agitating,
Yeah.
for the increment in the amount that was being allocated for school feeding per child,
Yeah.
that was about 97 pesos.
Yeah.
They said that they wanted the caretaker minister
Yeah.
to be sacked. Did you hear that story? And they
Yeah.
said that they were not happy because she had not responded to their concerns about having that money increased. And it was the chief, well, this is an allegation that they made, that the
Yes,
chief director
yeah.
was the one who was even making the decisions
Yeah.
within the ministry.
Yeah.
So was there really a need for a caretaker minister then?
Even if a substantive minister is there and a function is supposed to be performed and that function is not performed, and for that reason some people feel aggrieved and they are calling for the person to be sacked, it can still happen. So whether caretaker minister or substantive minister, these calls can come. So what's the point?
How did she address the issue concerning school feeding?
You are now shifting the argument to whether or not the caretaker minister address issues of caterers or not
But
caterers.
school
That's what
feeding
the
is a
argument
very
now.
critical
But my
point
point is
of
that
the ministry.
the meat of the matter here is that was there a minister at that ministry?
Did she address the issue
Now,
concerning
if you are
school
moving
feeding?
it to whether or not her performance should be looked at and analyzed, that is another matter we are
And
going
that's
to
what
look
I'm
at.
asking
And
you.
now you've asked a question. What is another matter?
Why is that another
Well, the
matter?
minister is there. And the caterers
put her
the
there
caterers
as a-
said
as
that
a-
they
as a
want the
caretaker
minister
minister.
being sacked, or they want her sacked, or they don't want her to act. Bring somebody to act. And I'm asking simply, does that mean there was no minister? No.
But if work wasn't
That's
going
not what
on,
it
then
means.
how do you say that it's okay to have a caretaker minister and work was going on when it wasn't?
There has been calls that sack this person. There's corrupt practice here. There's that here. Allegations come and they fly.
Okay.
What do you always do to them? You say, let's investigate, establish the veracity of same and take decision. Now, the fact that somebody has alleged or some group of people have alleged that X, Y, Z happened and you have not even applied the oldie alteram partem principle, then sit here and pass judgment, then of course, at the end of the day, you are insensitive to the plight of humans.
Who is that? The
All
people
of
who
you
are asking that?
Yeah, no, if you have
people
not,
who are
I am
asking for
saying
the
that
sacking of
the
the
fact
minister,
the fact that
they
a
are
group of people,
insensitive?
I'm saying the fact that somebody, this is within their right to make such calls.
Okay.
I agree. But I'm saying that you who is listening and feeding into it, without also listening to the other side of the divide, okay, to get and establish whether the veracity of same is what it is, then you take decision, then of course you are insensitive to human.
Well, I don't know
That's the
if
point.
you're insensitive if you heard
No,
the
but that is the
caterers
law.
speak and also
They are
thought
saying
that
it.
at that point the caretaker minister should
So
have been
I just
made
make
to focus
allegation
on her
and
ministry so a new person will take over. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll hear
Make
from
an
lawyer
allegation, you are gone
Abraham
with it.
Amaleba. This is the big issue on TV3Newday, and it's proudly brought to you by Niche Chocolate and Niche Cocoa Drink. We have it here. You can try it as well. Walk into any shop and you'll find some. Try it and let us know what you think. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're enjoying our niche cocoa drink, and of course, I hope that you get to enjoy yours. But the conversation is heated.
Really
We're talking
it.
about. Oh, you love it, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, you can go ahead and drink this if you want to, or you want to wait.
Yes,
you
guys package something.
That's what we do. So every time,
yes,
niche is generous like that. But those of you watching, well, you can also get some at any shop near you. Just make sure that you get either the 750 ml bottle, the Tetra Pak, or even the sachet. Just mix it with hot water, the sachet I'm talking about. You don't need sugar, you don't need milk, and it tastes really good. And they have the chocolate as well. Try it and give us feedback. Kamal Dean Abdullah is the Deputy Director of Communications for the NPP. Lawyer Kwame Jantwa is the Chairman for the Political Affairs Committee for the CPP. And Lawyer Abraham Amaliba is the Head of the Legal Department of the NDC. Lawyer, we're coming in to respond to some concerns that Kamal had raised.
You asked the question whether the president was able to reach Adwoa Safo on phone and whether he has been able to get in touch with Adwoa Safo, and Kamal Dean was all over the place saying that it's not by law. But you see, there's a letter here from the Ministry of Information, a press statement, when the president was asking the finance minister to get in touch with the IMF. Second paragraph, the president said that, so after saying that, he has instructed the finance minister to get the second paragraph. This follows a telephone conversation between the president and the IMF's managing director, Ms. Kreltalin, I don't know, conveying Ghana's decision to engage with the fund. So it's done. Good governance practice. It may not be written in black and white, but good governance practice all over the world requires that in serious matters such as this, because it's not only Adwoa Safo who is absent from his office. There's also a chieftaincy minister who is absent from his office. But his own has not generated that kind of public interest. So in matters like this, because sovereignty lies with the people, and that the president is only representing us, it is important that he tells people just to inform the Ghanaian people what happened for the Adwoa Safo to be fired. We are not saying that it should be elaborate. And so, because Adwoa Safo's own was not like the ordinary dismissal of a minister, because we've seen Adwoa Safo dancing in social media, and people will be wondering, how can a minister leave a whole ministry and be dancing on social media? What is happening? And I don't want to even go to the area where people were attributing some health reasons, you know. So it is important that, and I agree with you, it's important that you choose and pick which ones you think you can just give a statement without going further, and those that the public have acquired interest in it to explain to the people. Because the job that you are in, how many times did he try? If it was his own power, he would have been there a long time. But this tells him that the power there belongs to the people. And so, for good government practice, I thought that, I agree with you, he should have explained. And particularly where Adwoa Safo came out to say that he has had contact with the president, and the president is the one who has allowed her to be out of the office. So I agree with you.
But lawyer, I mean, if we should go to Parliament as well, we saw that report from the Privileges Committee, and we saw clearly that there was a sharp division between the minority and the majority with regards to what they want to see happen in Parliament with regards to her seat. Minority, surprisingly, does not even agree to the fact that they should declare her seat vacant. We would have thought that, on the other hand, it will be the majority that will be siding Adwoa Safo and asking for them to protect her, and the minority will be the ones asking for her seat to be declared vacant. What is the minority's interest in all of this?
So let's agree that we have finished one part of the argument, which is the executive part.
Okay.
Let's not marry the two. So my submissions in respect of her executive position should not be linked to my submissions now I'm going to do.
It depends.
No, you can't. You can't do that.
It depends. You can't tell me I can't, lawyer.
She holds two positions.
I get you, but you can't tell me I can't. You make your point.
No, I will not.
And we'll see how we can link the two.
The principles and the guiding her executive position are different from the principles and the guiding her legislative function.
You make your point.
Now, the minority are making these arguments because they simply want the law to be followed. The minority says that, and this constitution The principle beneath this constitution is the principle of natural justice
And fairness.
fairness, or the adherent pattern. You must hear the person.
Very good.
You must hear the person before you punish the person.
Absolutely.
Now, what the minority is saying is that you've not heard the person. Article 97 is clear that she must go to the privileges committee, and if the reasons she's given are not tenable, are not reasonable, then they can make a decision to remove her. I have heard people erroneously say that, oh, once the 15 days come, she loses her seat. Why didn't they do that to Ajapong and
But they avail themselves of the
That's what I'm
privileges
saying.
committee.
I'm saying that if it is just that 15 days come, then it triggers automatically. Why did they call the two? They should have just gone.
But that's not what people are saying.
People are
saying
Yes.
that Honorable Kennedy Ajapong and the Greater Accra Regional Minister, at least they avail themselves to the Privileges Committee.
Yes.
Now, we heard from the Privileges Committee to the extent that they were so frustrated that even after her interview with the media house, Joy, they called them to ask them how they were able to reach the minister because they had tried so many times and she wasn't responding. They even tried, they published another, alert in the media just to let her know that she was required to make an appearance at the Privileges Committee. She refused to do that. So they exhausted every avenue to allow her to explain herself, and she still did not heed.
So let me just jump there because of lack of time. The Privileges Committee have not done enough to reach Adwoa Safo.
They've not done enough?
Never.
How? Wow. How? They sent her emails, they sent her texts, they reached her personal assistant who confirmed that he had forwarded the message to Honorable Adwoa Safo, but he could not guarantee if she had seen it or would make an appearance. They published it in the media. How else do you expect them to reach her?
Which country is Adwoa Safo? Where is she now? UK or US?
Well, we don't know. We're hearing that she's in Ghana, so we're not sure where she is at the moment.
US. Let's say US. Do we have an ambassador there or not? Why are you silent? Why are you silent for 2 minutes?
Are you asking me?
Yes. So that is why. So that is why I'm saying that. So you now agree with me that they've not done enough. The Privilege Committee, they should, if they want to invite me there, I'll tell them that they didn't do enough.
So they should have reached out to the
Why do we have an ambassador there? Why?
So the ambassador will do what?
Hey, you're asking me what the ambassador will do? Ambassador takes care of the interests of the nation. Hey, you are here, a member of the MPP, you don't know what the ambassador does.
It's not what so I want to know the specific function the ambassador will perform in this case for Privileges Committee.
To reach out to Adwoa Safo in the country that she is. Why?
What if this ambassador had tried and still couldn't reach?
They have not been told that. Stop conjecturing. We have not been told that.
Conjecturing.
What the conjecture here? I am saying that we have an ambassador, a high commissioner in our various countries.
Yes.
She lives in a country. The Privilege Committee, if they say number 15 London Street, do they know it? Do they know the place? If they say number 14 Buckingham Palace corner there, would they know it? Is the ambassador who lives in the country? Is the ambassador who lives in the country who knows the address?
Yeah.
And so the ambassador should have been reached out to for the ambassador to assist the committee. So it's not enough. And so they can't proceed unless they give him a hearing. And that's all that the minority is saying.
So it's not about numbers in Parliament and also the fact that, like Lawyer Janto said, come 2024, they would use that as a campaign message?
That is his analysis. And anytime I am here, I do my own analysis and leave people to also...
But would you respond to that? Because that is the perception that may be out there. Do you intend to address it? That the reason the minority is asking for Adwoa Safo's seat to not be declared vacant is because, again, in Parliament, there's some advantage here because of numbers. And also, come 2024, when they head to Dom Kwabenya, they might use that as a means to communicate to the people and say that we supported Adwoa Safo and we asked that she would not be evicted. And that is why we have
But do you know that it is possible for the minority to, the MPP, NDC to annex that seat during by-elections and even add to our numbers?
In fact, there was a study that showed that NDC could.
So it's not about that. It's not about the numbers. It's about the procedure. And when you heard them yesterday, their argument was about whether it is enough for the committee's report to be acted upon or it is for Mr. Speaker to rule on it. So there was that counterbalancing and counter argument. So I think that the minority is not saying that don't sack Adwoa Safo. What they are saying is that let's go through the process as provided for by the Constitution. Give the person a hearing.
So if it will take 2 years to get a hearing?
There is not going to be 2 years. I am saying that. I didn't drink water when I was talking.
Lawyer, I'm asking you.
Saying that
what if they even go through the ambassador and still can't reach Adwoa Safo? And it takes another year before she even agrees to respond?
No. There's no way that me, in this country, if he doesn't know my house, he doesn't know my house. There will not be anybody who knows my house and presents a document to me. Once I am served in my house, it is notice of the proceedings going on. But
if you say once you're served in your house, they have sent a mail to her house as well. You see, the ambassador can choose to go to Adwoa Safo's house in the US or wherever it is she lives. She can choose to welcome the ambassador in or not, refuse to see him. And he'll come back and say, well, I went there, but I couldn't see her. So that means that I've not been able to communicate.
You put notice on social media. I heard Joe Osei say that she's acting on social media. That's why they put it there. That doesn't, for me, come to me naturally as somebody who thinks that he wants to get a lady. The lady may be doing her social media things, but she's not active on social media.
She's not active?
I'm saying that the lady may be doing videos and be putting them there. But that doesn't mean that she's active on social media.
We can't say that for a fact.
Exactly. So you see that what the Joe Osei was saying cannot be grounded on fact. But so if you then put notice on social media and say that that is notice to her, I disagree.
Through her PA as well, who confirmed that he has sent it to her? And
then the PA told you that what? That she can't confirm whether she has read it or not. So what do you do next? Next, you move ahead. And I'm suggesting to the previous committee that use your ambassador or your high commissioner to reach out to her destination in the country. That for me. So
until they hear from her, they cannot make a decision?
Until they serve her.
Does that not then also make Kamal Dean's arguments fair? That there's a reason why this delayed, because the president probably had not heard the sacking of Adwoa Safo in that letter that we saw from the office of the presidency.
Just to narrow it down.
And if you're saying exactly, and I'm asking that, does it not make his arguments also fair that until you hear from her, you cannot make a decision, which is why maybe this took quite a while?
No. In the executive position, the arguments are different. In the executive position, she's there at the liberty of the president, behest of the president. She's there at the behest of the president. That's the right word.
Yeah.
Now, the president is actually, in all ministries, the president is actually the minister for those ministries, but just that he has delegated the functions. Representing. So, if the leader thinks that somebody is making my work difficult, you fire.
Okay.
That one doesn't need any procedure. And that's why we are saying that one has been taking too long to do. But with the parliament, they have prescribed how that person can be removed. And you cannot jump that. That's the difference.
Lawyer Janta.
Do you know, in most foreign embassies in this country, your responsibility as a citizen of that country, you've got to register with the embassy. So that in case of any challenges, they know where to find you. Adwoa Safo is a government person. She has a high position in this country. Her first responsibility when she got into America was to go to the embassy and tell the ambassador, I'm in town. These are my details. This is where I am. And it's the responsibility of government, responsibility of parliament. First point of call, ambassador. Get in touch with the MP. Get in touch with the gender minister. This is what we are saying to her. Have they questioned him? The ambassador. Has anybody questioned him? Has anybody said anything? Has the president spoken to the ambassador? He says, we have our MP there. We haven't been able to get in touch with her. Please try a possible best to get in touch with her and give her this message. if he's saying that he doesn't even know her telephone number, was that done? Now, my brother Kamal talks about law, process, as if the processes and the laws in this country cannot be abrogated and cannot be put aside. Let me give you an example. The Revenue Management Act, Petroleum Revenue Management Act, states in there that the oil revenue should be used in 4 priority areas that the finance minister has chosen. Go and check. Go and check, both NDC, MPP. Go and check how the oil revenue was used. The law states 4 areas. The oil revenue has been used in all the 12 areas in the law. Is that not a breach of the law?
It is.
So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? The processes in there, which we are following the process in the Constitution.
So what's the argument? So we should breach the law
My
because somebody has
argument is that irrespective of the fact that yes, the law is there, the law has always been breached.
So it should be breached again?
Well, aren't you breaching it?
But that makes it even worse
that's a
if we
serious
continue
matter.
to breach. Don't you think so?
Well, it makes it worse. It makes it worse. It makes it worse. But are you trying to tell me that irrespective of the law, there's no public interest? Is this not a public interest situation? Is it not? Where people and constituents want to know what is. Didn't you interview people on there? What did they say? Oh, at this time there, they should change hair. It's gone on too long. Is it not the interest of the people that
Well,
is
there are
important?
some who also said that, she needs to come in and answer to why she's been absent for a while. So it wasn't everyone who said she needs to be changed necessarily.
So would we then say that all avenues have been tried to get Adwoa Safo back here? Can we say that? But anyway, Adwoa Safo herself, why doesn't she resign? She herself, looking at her situation, looking at the family situation that she's in, does she feel she is being fair to the people of Ghana? Can the president not call and tell her, Madam Adwoa Safo, please resign. If you don't resign, I would sack you. Then, not now. And we've waited to go on. But you see, the challenge here is that if Parliament, if the MPP had a huge majority in Parliament, it would have gone ages ago. It would have gone ages ago. But Parliament for the MPP now is on a knife edge. And unfortunately, there are some MPP members in Parliament playing the politics of wanting to sack her. And there are some who are quiet, who don't agree. Take a straw poll of MPP members in Parliament and find out whether all of them agree that she should be sacked. Because her constituency is an important constituency for the ruling party.
I remember that with Adwoa Safo in December. That was when that whole controversy surrounding the e-levy happened, and she had to come in to be part of the vote.
She came, didn't she?
She did.
How did they get her here?
And I think, well, I mean, that's also another question for the gods, because we're hearing that there was even a private jet that was sent to fly her into the country, and we had that from Honorable Kennedy Ejapong. But I remember around that time there was also conversation about the fact that she had been given an ultimatum that if she had returned to the country, then she should return to work. Otherwise, she would be sacked. So were they giving her enough time to make that decision on her own, which is what she didn't make, and that's why she was sacked eventually?
When she came in for the e-levy, that was the time the president should have called her and told her, Madam, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. A, B, C, D, E, we are not taking it anymore. You either come back or you give us reasons why you can't come back. And if we see those reasons, we will suggest that you get alternatives for those reasons. Period. And then based on that, she herself
should have resigned.
Should have resigned. Look, an MP in the UK was late for Parliament question time.
Yeah.
He decided to resign. It's the Speaker of that Parliament who said, no, I won't allow you. So doesn't she owe that responsibility to Ghanaians? With
Come
the
on.
duration?
Well,
Should she not have resigned on her own?
Bella, I mean, I will go for the last bit of his submission. I mean, it's an honorable thing to do.
Okay.
Not to hold the country to ransom, not to get people suffer unnecessarily, and then, of course, get the public interest, generated. You see, Amalba makes simple the argument we're having today. He says, look, let the legislature do their work. Let the executive do their work. To the best of my knowledge, I have stated initially the processes that involve the executive forming their government. Again, how they can dissolve the government, as it were, in terms of ministers. What I want to say simply is that no wrong can be established against the President of the Republic of Ghana in the eyes of the processes that we have laid down for ourselves. That is one. Two, we should also be mindful of the fact that Adwoa Safo, will not just get up without informing the appointor, reasons why I want to leave for this country. I am aware that there was that initial information to the presidency that on health grounds, I am seeking or I am leaving for XYZ.
Which is why they extended
That
the
is
leave.
one. Good.
Okay.
I am also aware that on that same grounds, she continued to stay there. But see, what actually stopped her from coming and appearing before the privileges committee, as it were, to do same as we did to the executive earlier on? With all respect, my brother makes the argument of not being properly served or not being served. And once again, I will refer to him, the trade that he's in. Law. You go to the law court, and there's something called substituted service. My brother sits here and wants to poo-poo social media service. You go to the law court, and a judge, on his discretion, can grant you a substituted service, a procedure that go to Facebook, go to WhatsApp, and send a message, and it's sufficiently served. In fact, Lord Denny will tell you that even just going to the post office and putting the letter there, the person has been served.
Okay.
Just dropping a letter in the post box. So when lawyers sit down and make argument, I'm surprised. That's why I say we are making argument to suit us when the processes are laid down.
So there was no need
so
for...
my point I want to make is that
that means
Adwoa Safo has not, Adwoa Safo has not done well. That's a fact. And that's why I will go for the last bit of argument of Lord Gentua when he said, look, she should have done the honorable thing by resigning. And the whole matter will fall flat. However, she didn't do it. Reasons best known to her. The president also, internally, we all do not know what actually delayed it. Like I said, lawyer Amalba made a point. He said, look, Parliament is supposed to listen to the other side. Parliament is supposed to establish procedure. Parliament is supposed to do this. And I sufficiently quoted Lord Denny when he said, due process of the law is as good as a substantive law, which is the reason why he has made that argument. Are you getting my point? Now, when we sit here and want to put our interests aside and look at what it is, there's nothing wrong except to add that Adwoa Safo did not do herself any good and do any good to the country of Ghana. That is all I will say.
So you do agree if the minority says that there should be the rule of natural justice at play?
Clearly, yes, why not? I support...
But the majority of Parliament want her out.
But equally, the majority also are not just saying that we want her out. Why? Who is the chairperson of the Privileges Committee? It's on the majority side. Is the Deputy Speaker of Parliament.
First Deputy, yes.
I have listened to him. He made frantic efforts. In fact, he said the committee did all they could to reach out to her. They call her, she won't pick. They send messages, she won't listen. She won't come back to them and all that. He has said it. Under frustration, they suffered as a committee until they said, okay, let's refer the matter to the plenary.
But if they have not heard from her, I mean, what can they do about it?
Which court ordered that Adwoa Safo's invitation letter should be put on social media?
I have not said...
Because as for the court has the authority to say that you can serve somebody this way and it will be, it will be assumed.
Okay.
The Parliament hasn't got that power.
We have to end. Our time is
hasn't got that power.
up. Okay, we have to end. Let's read some messages. So unfortunately, we couldn't even read messages.